Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 for Thursday, March the 21st, 2022. Well, the good times kept rolling today, as they say, if you were bullish, as the markets did continue to gain very strong gains today, as well as what began yesterday after the Fed press conference. Now, it's following pattern and it's following really where it should be, but I'm making slight adjustments as we go along because of the height, because of the count itself, what the market appears to be putting in. I'm going to start here with the S&P, and I'm going to take a look at the 4-hour chart so that we can see that it still is following through as I suspect it should, in terms of finishing the minor wave 5, but within it, the minute fifth wave, which again, in and of itself, is breaking down into what I feel is a slightly expanding diagonal triangle. So very fitting for finishing with this in terms of that this whole rally phase began in October of 2022. And from that level, it has just been very, very dynamic. In fact, we could take a look on our weekly charts, and you could see that the angle of this rally has been rising at about a 45-degree angle, which is very impressive, but fits within, again, as I said yesterday and likely before, it does continue to fit within the parameters or the personality / characteristics of a B wave. Now, there have been several things that have taken place within this whole move, which would have put a real hold on thinking that it was a B wave. But how quickly those particular indicators that were triggered fulfilled the destiny of the trigger, likely much quicker than what I think people thought. So back to the current count. I am continuing to look at this as like the finishing stages of a primary B wave counter trend rally. And again, it began in October of 2022. So we have done intermediate wave A, intermediate wave B. We're in intermediate wave C. We've done minor waves 1 through 4 of intermediate wave C. We remain within that minor fifth wave. And we're now fulfilling the last, not necessarily requirement, but the resistance level for a irregular primary B, which is what it is, or a regular B wave, which is what this is, just on a primary degree. That second fib level at 1.382 was met today, and that came in at 53.07. And we got up to it, we went exceeded above it, we came back down, closed right at it. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting to watch this play out and how the market reacts at all these different levels. Now, filling in the count a little bit, I have moved the third wave. So right now I've taken the fourth wave off and I've moved the third. And after careful consideration and looking at it, I'm like, no, this fifth wave can't be so outstandingly higher or larger than the third wave, because together the third wave should still register as the longest and the strongest. Not necessarily, yeah, and still break above the wave 1, which it would have here, but just putting a little powerhouse into it, which it now has done in the C wave portion. So there was A of 3, A, B, C, B of 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming up today. I'm going to bring this down real quick to the 1-hour chart so we can take a look inside. So I'm leaving open the potential here, folks, that actually this small third finished here. This isn't going to be a small 4 here. We have one more rise up, and then we put the 5 in, then the C wave, then the minuet third wave. If I leave it as is against this move, then we actually were looking even for a larger, actually this should come down a little bit. So let me, I don't need to activate it, I need to edit. And this low is, I'm going to move that. Bear with me while I take a look. Is 5167.75. 5167.75. That should give me a little bit different. Okay, so if it is A, B, C, and for the third, and we're looking for a larger 4. We're looking for a minuet wave for it, and it should come down in an ABC. Now, if we have a little bit more to go, it's just going to change the depth. And the reason I talk about this is because the NASDAQ looks like it needs to put one more additional high in to complete its third and then come down in the fourth. So that would, put the strain on here, not, or to start to decline more strongly in lieu of the NASDAQ racing up to put in an additional new high. Likely, if it's going to rise up to put in a new high, it's going to be courtesy of one of those Mag 7s, and the latest one that's actually been doing it is, you guessed it, NVIDIA. So again, we did see a pretty strong downturn in Apple today. Apple was down over $7. So that little run, hoping for 180, hoping for higher levels, is not likely going to materialize. And so we saw, I think, a pretty good squeeze, a long squeeze actually, as it got pushed lower with the expiration tomorrow. So a lot of things going on in Apple. So how far it's going to go down, I'd have to go look at a chart that I have not done, but we could take a look at the options that are going to be expiring tomorrow and see where all that open interest is. And we're going to see if they're going to continue to squeeze it. Again, not a short squeeze, long squeeze. So back here, leaving open that potential. If not, then we should be actually coming down maybe a little bit more harder. That's the best word I can come up with. I was going to say more stern, more directional, just like really just kind of cutting some things away and coming down. So leaving the markers where they are here in terms of the retracements, if we're going to come into a little bit larger 4. Now, first of all, I want to tell you, if it's just this is 3 and the 4 is going to be here, look where it came to. It came down and held that little tiny 4 of one lesser degree. That's what caught my eye as I was getting ready to make the recording tonight. I thought, no, wait a minute. That kind of fits as if it's 3 and the 4. So the 3 goes up here, the 4 goes here, and we have 1 left. And that one actually could get us above, back above 53.22, which was I believe, the existing high today. Yep, it sure was. And maybe even up to like 35 or so. But then we have this cluster over here. Now, really, look what happens. Black hole city. And this is for minor. I believe that's minor. Wave 5. So we're now kind of getting into what you might want to consider the stratosphere for the S&P. I would be able to continue to put some up if we had 1, and then if we're going to call this 4, or 1 and put it to this 4, that's going to fill in some of this blank. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and see. So again, if it's 3 and I'm going to call this 4, and let's just do it with one more rise, it's against this stronger first wave, folks. So we're really going to be pushing higher again if this is the case. That's close enough. So you can see 618 is 53.45. And if it does a quick 5 and that's where it gets, not that that's the number one, but it would be fitting because of its location, what it's completing. Otherwise, we're blasting through this small patch of resistance at 53.54 and heading closer to 53.75. And that's just to complete the third. Now, remember, I have continued to talk about the potential that the market really could start blowing through these and get itself up here to complete. And then we're talking 5,400 to 5,480, 90, even, or some people would just round it up and call it 5,500. That would be quite the move. Now, what goes behind that move? I have to say that part of the cycle work is showing that right now that the cycle that was due to reach its low, a cycle low, within today, yesterday, likely came in on the 15th of March, which is early. Right-hand translation to that is bullish. So what have we had since the 15th? Bullish. We're just kind of going. All pullbacks are nothing. So with that in mind, well, we could get up and finish this whole thing. So I would rather feel that if this is the whole four, wow, pretty shallow. But I'm going to leave the labeling as it is. You already know if we come in tomorrow and the market has moved above here and is sitting upward here, then you know what I'm going to do. I will move the 3 up to here, the 4 over to wherever it comes down to, and the 5 and the C are going to sit and wait. Okay, but if we continue to come down and we start to fall into these zones here, right? If it's just going to be a minuet wave 4, we're looking for an ABC down. That still just brings us back to 382. That is the most common for a fourth wave. 382 here is 52.63. So it's a nice little correction, not something so big, but we would come down to here. And then the fourth wave would go, and then we would be coming back up. And that would be a minuet, wave 4. Minuet wave 1 is way down there, not to be worried about. But then again, just so that you know, that would be where I go to. I'd have to go back even further. I have to go to, right here, minuet wave 1, which is now sitting there, and that's no longer valid. So let me remove that. I'm taking off one level that was up here, because that minuet wave 1 would get attached to wherever this comes in. That before I was thinking that could have been the 4. I now removed it. I need to take that fib off. So our fibs get to that. 53, 56, 53, 45. So if we're going to extend one more time before we're done with minuet wave 3, let's just take a peek. I'm just going to throw these up there to see what this market can come up with. Well, it puts that 100% back here at 15, which has already been exceeded. But guess what? Look at that 1618. It's way up here for wave 3. So again, not knowing what tomorrow is going to bring, you have to sit and go like, well, I don't know if we were actually looking for what we saw today or yesterday, but here we are. Now that is just for a third wave as it relates again to the first wave, 1.618 being like the most common, but wave 1 is more relatable to wave 5. I use this just kind of as a guide, so I'm actually going to take it off. We can go inside all of this and kind of get what we got. like we have an A and a B, and then we could see where we come in for the C wave. There's those fib relationships, but right now we kind of have this one if it's all the way up to there. But again, because that would be the measurement. So let me go back down to that 15-minute chart. I know this gets confusing because there's just a lot of levels, a lot of areas where we can connect. There's a lot of possibilities. So again, this one giving us 53.45 and 53.73 would be if wave 3 comes in over here. So in other words, we don't decline further to start to fill in for a minuet fourth wave, which would suggest we're still within the minuet third wave. When we put that up there, the 4 would come down to here, and we begin to rally to finish this. And those levels are right here. 43.45, 43.50, excuse me, 53.45 and 53.73. That goes along with the minor wave 5. May still provide some resistance, but hey. Now, what that does as well, we take away some of our resistance levels, and it really clears a lot of stuff and opens up black holes is what I call them, because there's just nothing there. We've not been up here. I'd have to really start hooking up a lot of fibs to fill in any resistance levels up there. And I'd rather wait, and we're just going to measure the move as they happen. That, I believe, would be more accurate. Now, on the 15-minute screen, that little downturn that it did really brought our relative strength just right down here and just kind of waddling around towards, the 30 mark. So honestly, both they have to carry a 50-50 probability, either one. So again, that's what I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave it as if it is done. If we come in tomorrow or overnight and the market has moved above 53.22 and then started back down again, then we're going to have a pretty clean idea that the 3 goes up here, the 4 goes over here, and we're waiting for the 5 and the C and the 3, and that likely got to come in here somewhere. Otherwise, we continue to move lower. Market reopens in 30 minutes approximately. We continue to move lower, and we start reaching into these areas and form an ABC down. Then it's going to be minute degree, and then we have one more for minute wave 5, and that'd be it. Okay, I know, right? It's been a very, very long count. Over in the NASDAQ, I've also changed it up just a little bit. And let me go back out. First of all, start back as well on that 4-hour chart so that I can show you that there we we are still within minor wave 5. But I had thought we had completed minutes 1, 2, and 3 and put a clean 4 here, which have put us into that minute 5th wave to finish. Well, it actually does count better because this is the ABC and this is the 3, and this would just be a part of the 4. And it just, yep, I can move it up there. Just doesn't count as well. And so after careful consideration, I made the decision to flip the 3rd to where this is going to finish. Because this is still a C wave, and it is forming a very clean thus far 1, 2, 3, and I'm assuming a 4 and then a 5 to finish the minute. So it would be A of 3, B of 3, the C of 3 forming 5 waves. And remember, under Elliott, but everybody else that uses Elliott makes their own changes within it. all C waves must be 5. All C waves must be 5. That is something that stands firm. All C waves must be 5. So we always have to be able to count a 5 wave. And right now, it is coming up pretty cleanly. But even within it, we can see this really is just subdividing so cleanly that we have wave 1 of C, wave 2 of C, and then it really starts to subdivide. 1, 2, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 3, 4, well, internal. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, internal 3, 4, 5 of 3. So it's yeah, and it was quite the move. Now, so what we got going on so far, if I bring it down to the 15-minute chart, and we take a look inside. So there's the high. We haven't done very much. We've kind of come down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave A of sub-minuet wave 4. Yeah, probably. And then a little kind of a B wave here, and then we still have a C wave down. Now, see what I've done? I'm only connecting it on this sub-minuet level. Now, here's the previous 4, but here it actually is. So previous 4, another previous 4. We're already down past that one. So with this possibly being all done, and we start to rally again, then we would come up, and then I will be moving this guy back over, and we're running it this way, because this would be the wave 1, right, of the C wave of the third. And let's just say we have to put it there. Okay, so now we got a mess going on. So we got this, and there's 618 at 18,782, and there's 100% at 18,925. Tomorrow's an expiration. I'm not going to even second guess what I think they want. Are they going to do another smash down like we had last Friday? Because it was a bigger expiration in terms of it was the monthly. There was a lot more going on. But are we going to see that same thing happen in NVIDIA? Guess where NVIDIA got to? I think it was 920 NVIDIA got to today. Exactly where it got to last time at 924. Maybe it was a little bit higher. Don't know. But they slammed it down, and they slammed it down, and they slammed it down. And now, once the interest rates are all unchanged, boy, just come flying back into NVIDIA. But they might have that same mix going on, like, no, we're not going to let it expire up here. And they just crush the volatility, and they crush the gamma. And they put on a big gamma squeeze. And that could be coming into more stocks. For all I can tell you, Apple goes down another 7 tomorrow. Now, what's that going to do? That's going to likely start to put the weight on this thing to being the 3 goes there, the 4 and the 5, and this is done. And we are in a little bit of a larger pullback, right? If this is 3, 4, and a 5, it could be. I'm just telling you, it could be. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to the NASDAQ, letting me know that it probably isn't. And that we're going to do a little bit bigger of a 4. And if I measure it out, that's where it can go. And then get itself back up here. So if it's not there, even if I had to go to 382, let's readjust. I'm going to activate it, bring it straight down to here. So what do we have? 618. Before the high, 100 is 18,826, 25, 26 right there. So we get a little bit tighter into some resistance already in existence. So, and then, we can stick a 3 over here, and then do a larger 4, and then do a 5. So a lot can happen tomorrow. A lot can happen tomorrow. And I would suggest that we all of this, as far as what's for the S&P and the NASDAQ, we swing and we go into next week with it all. That really does kind of look that way. And it also feels that way. I don't think they're ready to walk away from what's going on unless they clean it all up and they get it all into tomorrow's expiration. Boom, positions come off, boom, clean sweep, on to the next move, which could be down. Don't forget, we're in the finishing stages, in my view, of a rally phase that started in October of 2022. All right, moving averages now. Yep, all back. That's on the 15. I'm going to go out to, let's start at the 4-hour and let's take a look at how that has improved our picture going up. Okay, there you go. There is the 200, there's the 50, there's the 20, there's the 4, excuse me, the 8, and there's the 4. All in alignment. Before, we were in alignment to go down. We were sitting in alignment to go down. That's all reversed nicely. And now all in alignment to continue to go up. A little bit of a downturn, but still continue to go up to finish this thing. Let's go out to the daily and see if it's what it's done on the daily. Here on the daily, same deal. There's the 200, there's the 50, there's the 20, there's the 8, there's the 4. All is good. Everything's been corrected, and now we're all moving higher again in unison, in alignment with one another. Okay. So, let me just double check on what our moving averages are doing here in the S&P. Oh, they're also all in strong alignment to go up. So it's looking pretty good. I still think we might get a mixture tomorrow of down and up, and both could be like pretty strong, pretty wild. But that's how I think it's going to be until we're all done with all of this. Now, that's going to be it for today. Again, tomorrow's an expiration. Let me just double check to see about what, if any. Friday, well, it's Fed Day again. Fed Chair Powell takes part in a Fed Listens event. Fed Vice Chair for Supervision, Michael Barr, is speaking somewhere, and the Atlanta Fed, Raphael Bostic, is also speaking tomorrow, 9 a.m., 12 noon, and then 4 p.m. So it's another Fed day. We got all the Fed people out there speaking. Outside of that, nothing. It's just a big old expiration, and I'm sure it's going to have something. So this weekend, I'm maybe doing a podcast with someone who I've had podcasts with before, and that is Dan Ascani. We have not cemented that into place, but we are in discussion and talking about it. And so as far as having a big picture technical update, if I don't do one with Dan, then I will be doing that. And outside of that, then the next Elliott Wave update will be on Monday, the 25th of March. I believe it's the 25th. Let me just double check, and I'm keeping you online. I shouldn't. Yes, it's the 25th. Have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great trading day tomorrow.